Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Outside the Box Score. With me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Big show today because we don't have just one Syracuse football game to recap. We've got two. Syracuse, of course, played the University of Connecticut last Saturday, the Huskies coming into the Dome, and then last night, SU hosting the Colgate Raiders. Big win for Syracuse last night. And I don't necessarily mean in terms of strength of opponent, but in terms of score. So we'll break that game down. We'll break the UConn game down. I do want to discuss a little bit during the show today as well. This Kawhi Leonard situation going on with the Clippers and this no-show endorsement deal that he got allegedly. The great Pablo Torre doing some unbelievable reporting on this. And we'll get into that a little bit later. And then, of course, the NFL is back. We are fresh off of week one, going into week two of the NFL, and we'll discuss that as well. I will say, solo show. Josh is not here. Josh went up to the islands this weekend. I texted him Thursday. I was like, hey, nothing formal, but if you want to come over to the apartment, watch the Thursday night football game, more than welcome. I bought some beverages. We had a pizza. It was like, yeah, if you want to come over. We watched the Eagles-Cowboys game together and then didn't discuss it on the show. And so I was like, hey, if you want to come over, he goes, Mark, I'm heading up to the islands. I'm like, okay. So no show this week for you. He goes, yeah, it was a last minute thing. So no Josh this week. It's just going to be me. Phone lines are open the entirety of the show if you want to call in. 315-671-1260. That's 315-671-1260. You can also always interact during the show without calling in. You can check out the Twitch, YouTube, or Twitter streams. Twitch and Twitter, same at marker_box. So that's twitch.tv/marker_box. Or you can go to my Twitter page at marker_box. Or you can always go to the Score 1260 YouTube channel and watch it there. That's youtube.com/thescore1260. And we are live there as well. So plenty of ways to interact with the show. We've got Jim and Pat in the chat already. I'm sure some other people will be there as well. So why don't you hop in and have a discussion with me today as we talk a lot of Syracuse football and many other things going on in the world of sports. We will start with the Syracuse-UConn game. So Syracuse gives up 20 points to UConn. And we discussed, I think UConn is a solid program as an independent right now. Do I think they're, Power 5 potential? No. But they've built something. Jim Mora Jr., the past couple of years there in Connecticut. Why the hell are we going to overtime against UConn? It really was just a pain to watch this game. I watched this game pillar to post here in the Score 1260 studio. I was working the Syracuse Mets game that afternoon, and throughout the game, I'm talking to Michael Tricarico and Jack Gordon, the two lovely broadcasters for the Syracuse Mets, and they're watching the game too. They're calling the game. It was like why am I drawing a blank on his name right now? The great play-by-play guy for CBS, Ken Harlan. It was like when Kevin Harlan a few years ago was calling he was calling a Kansas City Chiefs game, and at the same time he was doing play-by-play for a game that he was watching on his monitor. Was the Dolphins game because it determined the playoff seeding in the AFC. And his color guy asks him, what game are you calling? I'm calling both games. That was Tricarico and Jack Gordon last week, as the Mets were up huge late in the game. And so Tricarico just started doing kind of play-by-play for the Syracuse football game. And it just amazes me that we take on a team like UConn, who we demolished at the Dome last year. And Angeli's still getting his feet under him. But looked okay against Tennessee. Obviously a tough first game. Tennessee in a neutral site, but it was very much on the road. That was more of a Tennessee home game than it was a neutral site. We can call it the way it is. And then Angeli throws for 416 yards in the UConn game, but the offense just doesn't quite get going. There's some problems with this team with holding on to the football. We'll get into that, but take them to overtime, win in short order in overtime. Great. Syracuse is 1-0 at the Dome, 1-1 on the season. Man, that was brutal though. It was a brutal watch. Connecticut's up 14-6 at half. They're up 20, or they're up 17-6, excuse me, going into the fourth quarter. Syracuse comes all the way back. I was blown away by the fact that UConn even stayed in that game. I think, Jim, remind me, that was pretty close to the spread. I want to say the number was 7.5. It seemed like Syracuse wasn't getting enough points. Turns out Vegas knew something that we didn't, as they always do. But Angeli, 400 yards. Yasin Willis had a touchdown. Yeah, okay. I thought so. Jim says it fluctuated between 6.5 and 7.5. So right on the number, as Vegas often is. Dan Villari had 100 receiving yards in that game. Darrell Gill Jr., who made a great catch last night. He had 84 yards on 4 catches. Justice Ross Simmons, 83 yards on 5 catches with a pair of scores. Those were the 2 touchdown passes that Angeli threw. You could see the vision. You started to see, wait a minute, maybe once this offense gets going, we've got weapons. I really like Gill. I really like Justice Ross Simmons. We saw some of him last year as well. Dan Villari, of course, is, one of the more fun weapons Syracuse has. And then we go to last night. And wow. I know it's Colgate. I'm not going to overreact to the numbers that Syracuse put up last night. But 66-24 is big. They covered 37.5. So obviously, we all knew that this was going to be a blowout. Angeli, 24-32, 417 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks. We'll get into some of the other stats later, and we'll talk about what I saw in the game in a little bit, but I just wanted to preview this by saying it was what you wanted to see from this Syracuse team. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Colgate is a quality opponent, because this certainly won't do us any favors among any committees beating Colgate like this. And there are negatives. We gave up 24 points to Colgate. Indiana, they played Indiana State yesterday. And that was a big number. I believe the final score was 72-0. So there are negatives. 24 points to Colgate, that's not great. We'll talk about the defense, but it's just planting the seeds for what this offense can be this year. Back-to-back games for Steve Angeli of over 400 yards, the first quarterback in Syracuse history to do that. Kyle McCord led the ACC in passing yards last year, set the record for the ACC, 73-0. Thank you, Jim. Set the ACC record single-season passing yards last year. He never had back-to-back 400-yard games. So it's something. I'm not saying it's something huge, given the quality of the opponents, but it is something that maybe Syracuse fans can look forward to the rest of the year. We're going to take a timeout. We'll come back and we'll really break this game down when we return. Phone lines open 315-671-1260 if you want to chime in. That's 315-671-1260. Call during the breaks. I'll screen your call and I'll bring you on after. You are listening to Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. $5,000. That's the average amount of money.
Jim, I agree on those odds that you posted on Twitter. No, minus 90 trillion or whatever it is. Colgate, Indiana State would be about a toss-up on a neutral field. Probably. Our defense is just not good. Yeah, I'm scared moving forward with this defense. We'll talk about it, but yeesh. I personally would be thrilled to see Clemson minus 12.5. I was thinking 14.5. Yeah, I was thinking 14.5 would be the number. We'll see. What's 10 plus home field? Yeah. It's just, I mean, we'll see. Clemson's got a tough one today. They've got Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech ain't bad. And Clemson isn't Clemson. They're good. They're really good. But putting up 10 points against LSU at home, that's not nothing. And they're down 3 starters today versus GT. I could see SU giving them a game. Yeah, because I'm not a Cade Klubnik guy either, Jim. I'm not a Cade Klubnik guy really at all. So yeah, they're down 3 starters today against Georgia Tech. If Clemson goes into that game 1-2 and they're feeling a little shaky, that could be something. Yeah, it's not like they blew Troy out of the water. 27-16, I think. No Stone so far in the chat. Jim, how do you have all of the apps always open at once? Are you secretly like 4 guys? And we're back. Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Talking some Syracuse football to open the show. We already went through the Connecticut game. Let's talk about last night. 66-24, Syracuse takes down the Colgate Raiders at the JMA Wireless Dome. The most incredible stat I saw about this series, so that makes it 18 consecutive wins for Syracuse against Colgate in a very long-running series. And with 18 consecutive wins, Syracuse now leads the all-time series by 2. Like I said, it's a very long-running series. Series goes back over 100 years. And back then, Colgate was, this was the marquee matchup in upstate New York. And Colgate won a bunch of them very early on. And Syracuse has just dominated the last 18 meetings. But it is one of those funny stats where going into the game last night, they had won 17 in a row to take a one-game lead in the all-time series. So something to say about Colgate's history as a football program back in the early days of college football. Those early days are gone. In the words of the great Joe Cocker, oh, the early days are gone. I'm coming home. And Syracuse wrote us a letter last night that the offense can put up numbers. Like I said, Steve Angeli, 24 of 32, 417 yards and 5 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions. 2 of those touchdowns going to Darrell Gill Jr. Big game for him. Six catches for 152 yards and the 2 scores, averaging 20 yards per catch. Gill, he's a junior now. He's been around for a couple of years. Had wasn't really around much in 2023. Only had 7 catches for 60 yards. Started to see the workload get up a little bit last year. 31 catches for 570 yards and 2 scores from McCord. He's already got those 2 scores this year. And really has been seemingly the top target as a wide receiver for Steve Angeli so far this year. Breakout game last night. Other touchdowns being caught by Darian Williams, Jalen Hornsby, Gabe Daniels, and Justice Ross Simmons. Only had 1 catch in the game for 26 yards, but he made it count for a touchdown. Saw a lot of guys for Syracuse last night. This one was pretty much out of hand early. Syracuse had a 38-3 lead at the half. So we saw some guys. Ricky Collins got some run last night, 3 of 5 for a touchdown and a pick. As soon as he comes into the game, throws that interception, it was like, all right. Maybe we did make the right choice at starting quarterback, and I do think we did. No Yasin Willis last night. A couple of guys out for Syracuse last night, hoping to be back for Clemson next week. But Will Nixon, 12 carries for 66 yards, 5.5 yards a clip for a touchdown. Angeli also ran for a touchdown, so he accounted for 6 touchdowns last night. And we even saw third-string quarterback Luke Carney come in, have a 9-yard rushing touchdown. So that makes it 9 total touchdowns for Syracuse last night. Jim says CBS has Angeli with 382 yards. ESPN has him with 417, and everyone was talking about last night how he threw for 400 again. So I don't know what CBS is doing. They also, I'm surprised they even have a box score for this game. Half the time on CBS Sports, for games like this, they don't even carry a box score. That's why I use ESPN for most of the games, because they will have the stats. Will Nixon lost a fumble last night. There were no fumbles by Angeli. We were worried about Angeli having a fumbling problem. He didn't have one last night. Did lose one, like I said. That was Will Nixon. Yeah, so Jim, the CBS Sports just has it all wrong, I think, because they also have Ricky Collins with 65 yards passing, and that's no. A couple of picks for Syracuse. Demetrius Samuel Jr., his first interception on Syracuse, the very young defensive back, freshman, 17 years old, playing both sides of the ball. Also had a catch for 10 yards last night, had the pick, returned a punt only for 4 yards. But he's going to be interesting to watch this year as he tries to go the Travis Hunter route of playing both offense and defense at the college level. Like I said, I'm not going to overreact to this game. But it's fair to say that this is a great confidence boost going into a tough matchup against Clemson next week on the road. Syracuse, of course, with maybe the toughest schedule in all of college football. They played 5 ranked teams on the road. Next week's the next one against Clemson. Clemson, tough game against Georgia Tech today. They're only a 2.5-point favorite. And I just want this to be, like I said, a confidence boost, a lesson for Angeli and all these guys, Gill, Valari, especially those guys that were here with McCord. We can still do the damn thing. We can still score in bunches when we need to. And this is the type of offense that Syracuse wants to run. These are the type of games they want to have. They want to be high scoring. They want to make you score points against them. The problem is, with these high scoring offenses, if you're going to make the other team score a bunch of points, the way the defense is played, they're probably going to do so. It was a better defensive effort from Syracuse last night, I guess. But they still gave up 24 points to Colgate. And I know a lot of they all came in the second half, outside of 3. Defense looked better in the first half. Then we put some guys in, just getting some guys some run. But this has not been the Syracuse defense that we thought it was going to be with the new recruits coming in and based on what we saw last year. They still struggled to tackle. They only got 2 sacks against the Colgate offensive line. It's just not great. It just, plain and simple, is not great. There is not a lot of confidence I have in this defense to stop a Clemson, to stop an SMU, to stop a Georgia Tech, to stop a Miami, to stop a Notre Dame. And Clemson's offense isn't great. I'm not a huge Klubnik guy. But that's tough. It's tough for me to get super confident even after last night's offensive outburst against some of these teams that we have to play later on in the season. We saw the defense against Tennessee in week 1, what they're capable of against a good offensive team. It's kind of scary. Some of these guys like Deuce Chestnut and Demetrius Samuel Jr., they're not going to have the impact that they will against a Colgate or against a UConn. So next week's game is a big one. 12 o'clock game next Saturday. It'll be on right after this show airs. Down in Death Valley. It's scary. Jim and I were talking. He thinks the number is going to be 12.5. I'm thinking 13, 14.5. We'll see what they put the number at. But you got to make tackles. You got to play defense, something that this team has struggled with, even against Colgate. I'm sorry. You can't give up 24 points to a team like that. It's just bonkers. So we'll see. I like what I saw out of the offense. I still don't like what I see out of the defense. There is a lot of football left to be played this year. We're only 3 games in. But it would be a lot more fun if Syracuse was able to take down a Clemson next week in their house. That's it. So Syracuse football, maybe on the rise, maybe not. We will see. Next week is really the true litmus test on what we can get out of SU football this year. Taking a timeout, we'll be back in just a few minutes here on Outside the Box Score, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. $5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on.
For commercial break, did not watch fourth quarter. Did Angeli throw a 35-yard pass at the 9-minute mark, fourth quarter, then immediately subbed out for Collins, who threw an 11-yard completion? I missed that, Jim. I watched the game. I was somewhat distracted. I was at a family member's house playing pitch last night. So the game was on. I was watching the game, but I did not catch every single play like that. And yes, the Red Sox can't hit. Without Roman, this team is dead. Absolute must win today for the Sox. I don't know if they're going to. It's Bayo versus Freed. It's going to be a good pitching matchup. 4 o'clock game. We'll see, but then we got Dodgers Giants this weekend too. That's a fun series as well. Kershaw versus Webb tonight. Ooh. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Talk a little bit about the Red Sox-Yankees game last night. Now, as all of you know, I'm a diehard, lifelong Boston Red Sox fan. And last night in Fenway Park, the Sox got their green monster jerseys on, as they do Friday night home games. Jerseys have been a great luck charm for us this season. Red Sox are no hit into the 7th inning. Yankees win this one 4-1. Sox muster up a measly 2 hits. They make 3 errors. The Yankees make 2. So all around, great defensive game last night. PU. Nathan Eaton hit a solo home run in the 7th inning to get the Sox on the board and with their first hit, but offense couldn't muster anything else. Like I said, just one other hit. Devin Williams looked good. David Bednar looked better, closing things out in the 9th inning. This team is dead without Roman Anthony. I'm ready. I'm calling them dead. Do I think they're going to fall out of the wild card? No. Do I think the Rangers have a real chance? 3 games back? Yeah. Do I think the Guardians have a chance? 4.5 games back? Yeah. Doubt we're going to catch the Yankees. We got to win tonight. It's game and a half. All I want is for, if the Red Sox make the wild card, I just want the series to be in Fenway. Game and a half back of the Yankees. Brian Bayo on the mound today. He's been red hot. Bayo's been underratedly really good this year for the Sox. But Max Fried is on the mound for the Yankees, their newly acquired left-hander from the Braves in the offseason. The Astros are right there. I know there's probably a lot of Yankee fans listening to this going, hey, why is it, what's going on? Why isn't he? Listen, Yankees are a good team. The Red Sox are a good team. It's always a great series. As soon as Roman Anthony went down, you could see the writing on the wall that it was going to be another collapse. Now, would it be as drastic as what happened in 2011 with Game 163 in the greatest last day of baseball that was ever played? No. But I could just feel the collapse in my bones. Just another Sox team that overperformed all year. A team that going into the season, I said I'd be happy if they finished 500. And they were already at 81 wins. They've got 14 games to go. Plenty of baseball left. Maybe a win today against the Yankees with Bayo on the mound. Then tomorrow, you've got your guy. Garrett Crochet on the bump, Sunday Night Baseball in Fenway Park. That is a game you have to win. Absolutely have to. And so is today. But if this offense can't get it going without Roman Anthony, then I don't know what to do. Because the pitching staff is blow-up prone, to say the least. But yeah, that game's at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Max Fried, the lefty on the mound for the Yankees. Brian Bayo on the bump for the Red Sox. Bayo, I'll have to look it up, which I'll do right now. I feel like Brian Bayo has good stats versus the Yankees. And yeah, he's got a career ERA of 195 against the New York Yankees. And has given up 13 earned runs in 60 innings. So I like our chances. 1.95 ERA, career record of 5-3. He's got a few tough luck losses against the Yankees. One, he got shelled. That's fine. That happens. 6 innings, 2 earned runs. 6 innings, 0 earned runs, but 3 runs given up against the Yankees. Or 5 innings, excuse me. Took the loss in that one as well. None of the runs his fault. So, got a real shot today. Just go out and win. He's beaten the Yankees in 3 consecutive starts against them, taking the win. Back-to-back 7-inning shutout performances against the Bombers, both of which coming this year, one on June 15th, one on August 22nd. Let's see, Brian. You were the great hope when you were coming up. You're 26 years old. Let's see what you got against our arch rival in our building. In a must-win game for the Red Sox moving forward in the wild card race. Jim says, so hammer Sox plus 120 or tread lightly. I'm going to do it, Jim. I'm going to hammer the Boston Red Sox plus 120. I'm going to do it. Because of Bayo, because of this team, because I believe. I believe in the Boston Red Sox right now. I believe that Brian Bayo can get it done against the Yankees. Go out there and be great, young man. Show that the last 3 starts where you've beaten the Yankees, 2 of which coming this year, that's no fluke. That's no That's nothing. That's who you are. You are a Yankee killer. Go out there today and show them who's boss. Show them who their daddy is, in the words of Pedro Martinez back in 2004. And we all know how that worked out for the New York Yankees. So go out there and shock the Yankees again, just like we did 21 years ago. And yes, Jim, Roman Anthony is already underpaid. That guy rocks. Signed him to the deal. Loved it. That guy's awesome. So yeah, I will say he's already underpaid. And hey, the Braves can't do it all. Sometimes other teams have to sign young players to really team-friendly deals for an extended period of time. This time, it seems like it was the Red Sox turn. As long as that oblique doesn't act up over the next few years. It's just an oblique. I'm hoping it'll be okay. But him being out the rest of the year kind of stinks. Jim said, sadly, playoffs will be AL East winner facing winner of AL East winner of AL East number 2 versus number 3. I think that's fun. I like divisional matchups in the playoffs. Teams have seen a lot of each other. There are rivalries built in. So I like that, Jim. I don't think that is, sadly. I would love to see the Red Sox play the Blue Jays in the ALDS and just get wiped. I was saying this to someone the other day who is a Toronto Blue Jays fan. The Red Sox are 4.5 games behind the Blue Jays, and it feels like 14.5. I just there's nothing about this team that says, well, maybe we can catch Toronto. We definitely can't. There's something about that team that I just feel the Red Sox have zero chance of catching them. And I feel like Yankee fans feel the same way too. They're only 3 games back, and it feels like 13. We'll see. Like I said, there's 14 games left in the regular season, but I'm buying in. I'm officially buying in. The Red Sox will not collapse like they have in years past. Brian Bale wins today. The Sox win today. Sox win tomorrow to take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees and make things that much more interesting in the American League wild card race moving forward. Take a timeout, come back in just a few minutes here on Outside the Box Score. Phone line's still open, 315-671-1260 if you want to chime in. That's 315-671-1260.
That leaf pile is 100 feet tall. Your dad can't handle this.
I'm going to believe, Jim. I'm going to do it. Yeah, I know Texas holds the tiebreaker. It stinks. I don't know about that team, though. It's just something. Thanks, Pat. Um, Chiefs must win tomorrow versus Eagles, or is the window closed? I don't. I don't know if their window will ever fully close with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. Uh, but it might. I don't know if they lose tomorrow. I'm gonna firmly say it's probably not the year. Bills defense does have questions as well. AFC is going to be really interesting this year. And the Ravens defense has questions too. Yeah, Pat, how long is Ed Oliver going to be out? I saw he got hurt. I didn't see what the injury was. Okay, I didn't think it was that severe. I don't know. Are we sure the Jets are that easy? Just saying. Justin Fields might be the guy. They might have finally found their guy. I don't think they found their guy. I think the Jets stink. The Steelers also stink. But how about that being one of the games of the week? I mean, Bills Ravens obviously ended up being incredible, but who had Steelers Jets as being a really good game? Yeah, Pat, I don't actually believe in the Jets. I will never believe in that team. Yeah, two really bad teams, but it was a really entertaining game. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the score 1260. Going to talk a little bit of NFL. Week 2 this week in the National Football League. Had a good game on Thursday night, the Packers and Commanders. Packers pretty handily taking care of Washington in that one. Washington made it a game in the second half, but that Packers defense with Micah Parsons, hoo-wee, looking as advertised right now. Just looked really good in that game. Buffalo Bills playing the New York Jets tomorrow. Jets narrowly losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers last week, 32-31. Jalen Ramsey put an unbelievable hit on Garrett Wilson in that game. Bills also coming off a 1-point game, but a victory against the Baltimore Ravens in what ended up being the game of the week. Bills dead to rights in the fourth quarter. Seemed like they didn't stand a chance. They scored 22 points in the fourth, come all the way back. Game winner, 41-40 victory over the rival Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens looked like a force to be reckoned with for 3.5 quarters of this one, and they still are. That Ravens team is really good. Derrick Henry did Derrick Henry things, 18 carries for 169 yards and 2 scores. Josh Allen did Josh Allen things. 30 rushing yards for 2 touchdowns. Shocking. 33 of 46, 394 yards through the air for another 2 touchdowns. That was one of the most entertaining football games you'll ever watch on Sunday night. And the Bills, like I said, follow it up this week against the New York Jets. Pat in the chat says he will have boots on the ground for that one, so we'll have to get a full report next week regarding the Jets-Bills game at the Meadowlands. And the Ravens this week taking on the Cleveland Browns. Looking around the rest of the league, my Philadelphia Eagles, big game, Super Bowl rematch at Arrowhead, taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Eagles are a 1.5 favorite in this one. Jim asked during the break, if the Chiefs lose this one, is the window closed? And I said, I don't think the window is ever fully shut when you have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. I will say, I don't really think this Chiefs team is that good right now. Your number one's suspended. Your number one receiver, and Rashee Rice. Xavier Worthy's doubtful for this one. So you're throwing the ball to Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster. Travis Kelce is not the same guy that we saw a few years ago. We'll see what they can get out of Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt at the running back position. It's still a solid team. It's still a really good defense. But I just don't see it fully with them this year. And granted, I said the same thing last year, and they made it to the damn Super Bowl. And so that's why I'm saying the window is never fully closed when you have Pat Mahomes. Because I didn't think the team was all that special last year. And going into the Super Bowl, I was pretty worried about the outcome against my favorite team. It worked out all right. It worked out pretty good for the Eagles, but you can never count that team out. A couple other good games this week. One I'm looking forward to, I think, just because I think it's an interesting matchup. The Jaguars and the Bengals. Both 1-0. Bengals never win week 1. Barely beat the Browns 17-16 last week. And the Jaguars also 1-0. Trevor Lawrence didn't have a very good game against the Panthers. He had 178 passing yards. He was 19 of 31. Touchdown and a pick. But, and I know it's the Panthers, are we maybe seeing a little bit of a resurgence for Travis Etienne Jr.? He had 16 carries for 143 yards. They were so confident in him that they went and they traded Tank Bigsby to my Philadelphia Eagles. They've also got LaQuinn Allen Jr., shout out, former Syracuse running back, who got a carry for 7 yards in their week 1 win. They've got Brian Thomas Jr. That guy's really good. Receiver out of LSU. It'll be interesting to see what the Jaguars can do this week against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And moving forward, do they finally have a coach for Trevor Lawrence? Because since he's been there, he's gone through Urban Meyer. He's gone through Doug Peterson. They now have Liam Cohen, but it's been a rocky go of it for coaches in Trevor Lawrence's professional career. Maybe he's finally got a guy in Liam Cohen that he can rely on, that'll call a good offense, and maybe the Jags will be back to what we thought they were going to be a few years ago when they got Trevor Lawrence and all these weapons to play down there in Jacksonville. New York Giants are taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys 0-1 after a loss to my Eagles last week on Thursday Night Football. They're and the Giants 0-1. They are coming off a loss to the Commanders in week 1, in which they were just dismantled. This might be the battle for the basement, or will be the battle for the basement in the NFC East. The Cowboys are a 5.5-point favorite. If I'm a Cowboy fan, I do not know how confident I feel in that. I do not think this team is very good. Their offense looked pretty good against the Eagles in week 1, but the Eagles' best defensive player spit on a guy, so he was ejected before the game. It was a very strange start to the NFL season, that's for sure. Just who knows the direction the Giants are going in. Their offensive line has been terrible for 15 years. They draft a quarterback in Jackson Dart. They don't play him, which I'm fine with. But they have Russell Wilson at quarterback. We all know Russell Wilson is not the answer anywhere. Russell Wilson wouldn't be the answer for any of the 32 teams in the NFL. So let's just ignore the fact that he's playing there. I mean, you got to bring Dart in at some point. Russell Wilson, and when they do bring him in, because of Russell Wilson and because of the offensive line, you're going to be 0 and whatever. There's no chance that they're probably not going to beat the Cowboys. They're not going to beat the Chiefs. They're not going to beat the Chargers. Those are the next 3 games. The Chargers right now look like the best team in football. Or one of them after week 1. So you're not going to beat any of those teams. At what point is it against the Saints? Because the Saints aren't good. Do you bring them in that game on October 5th? But then you've got the Eagles, Broncos, Eagles again in the 49ers. Who knows what that team's going to do? The Giants have had 0 direction since before the retirement of Eli Manning. It blows my mind how that team can still, how fans of that team can still remain invested. Jim said not paying Wilson $10 million for 2 games. Guess what? You shouldn't have paid him $10 million at all. The guy stinks. The guy's washed. He has nothing left in the tank. This is not 2014 anymore. We're not letting Russ cook anymore in the year of our Lord 2025. It's over. It was a mistake to bring him in and pay him that much money in the first place. You want to get a veteran guy? Okay, get a veteran guy. But make it a guy that everyone knows you're punting. They didn't do that. They bring in a big name. Oh, let's get Russell Wilson. No, it's bad. He's bad. The Giants are bad. Anyway, I'm also looking forward to watching Bears-Lions this week. That should be a fun one. I have this weird belief in the Chicago Bears, and I don't know why. I think it's because of Ben Johnson, and I like Caleb Williams. And the Lions are coming off a really tough loss to the Packers in week 1. And I want to see if that team's actually not that good without Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn as the coordinators. I really like Dan Campbell as a coach, but it's hard when you lose both your coordinators at once. So I'm looking forward to Bears-Lions this week as well. Take a timeout, come back, and we'll wrap up the show in a few minutes here on Outside the Box Score. Giants are a joke. $50-50 on Josh next week. I believe he's in for next week. I could be wrong. But I think he's in. Well, like you said, Jim, who knows with him? Yeah, we do get to be the pregame show for the Clemson game next week. Very excited. Reminds me of my days in college when we were often the lead-in for Oswego hockey. And yes, it has been absolutely perfect golf weather the past week and a half. I played on, what was that? Thursday afternoon? Wednesday afternoon? Wednesday afternoon I played. It was awesome. Did not play well, but I played at Bellevue with a cousin of mine. So we had a good time. It was during the whole, I'm not even going to bring it up. We all know what happened Wednesday afternoon. That's all I'll say. We were playing while that was breaking. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. It's going to be a beautiful day today. If you're looking for something to do, you could always go over to the lovely NBT Bank Stadium. Syracuse Mets playing tonight. 6:20 pregame show right here on the Score 1260. I'll be here for that. 6:35 first pitch. I'm sure they've got fireworks tonight, probably. It is the last Saturday home game for the Syracuse Mets. Tomorrow, the final home game of the season. They're hosting the Worcester Red Sox this weekend. So you can go see Christian Campbell, some other young guys playing for the AAA Red Sox, and the Syracuse Mets playing some inspired ball in the second half of the season. Go and see some of the future New York Mets playing right here in Syracuse. Always a good time at the ballpark, so why not head over to NBT Bank Stadium tonight, 6:35 first pitch. If you're not going to head over, you can listen right here on the Score 1260. I'll be here with you for the entirety of that one as well, producing the game here from the studio. 6:20 first or pregame for that one. Like I said, 6:35 first pitch. I do want to mention briefly, we're not going to get into it in any sort of depth because we don't have time. This Kawhi Leonard situation is incredibly interesting. So apparently he allegedly signed a no-show job endorsement deal with this company called Aspiration. Steve Ballmer has been accused of trying to circumvent the salary cap in the NBA. He apparently invested $50 million into this company. Another partner in the Clippers was caught investing $1.95 million a day before Kawhi Leonard received a $1.75 million check from this company. I highly recommend listening to Pablo Torre Finds Out, an already awesome podcast, but he is doing some incredible journalism on this and breaking this story in pieces and, just teasing us with what the full breadth of this story might be. I haven't seen anything like this in a long time. Salary cap circumvention has been done before, but it is not common. I'm drawing a blank on what team it was that ended up losing 5 draft picks, like 5 years of draft picks because of this. It is the Clippers have a chance to really get in a lot of trouble for this. And especially a franchise that, just built a new arena, the Intuit Dome, which looks incredible. It looks like they put it's a real fan-first looking experience, which I appreciate. And it's a franchise that is sort of just getting over still the stench of their last owner, who obviously Donald Sterling, well-known jerk. They're finally getting over that, and I know it's been a long time now, but people don't think of him when they think of the Clippers anymore, and then this happens. It's just a really bad look for the organization as a whole. And Jim said sarcastically, surely it's just a coincidence. I doubt it, Jim. It really seems like Steve Ballmer has tried to circumvent the salary cap here and pay Kawhi more than the contract says. So without getting too in-depth in it right now, because there is so much to this story and I am very much out of time, I just wanted to let everyone know that that's going on. And listen to Pablo Torre Finds Out, because he's done incredible work on this. That's going to wrap up the show for this week. We will be back next week. Same time, same channel, right here at 11 a.m. on the Score 1260. We'll see you then. Peace.